Let me talk to you.
In any team's scariest game of the season against the Robots of Manchester, it was Anthony Gordon who stepped up and changed the game for Newcastle.
You responded with a goal from the spot as well. How did you keep your nerve when it was such a big moment in the game?
But what was the secret behind our masterclass performance?
Yeah, I think that was the main thing for us. We wanted to be...
How is Sandro Tonali transforming Newcastle? In what way is Lewis Hall evolving? Why should Newcastle United fans be more excited? Join us as we discuss the 5 things we learned in Newcastle 1 Manchester City 1.
Let's go.
Starting with the Gordon good news. Before kickoff, Newcastle United displayed their unwavering support for Anthony Gordon with a fantastic tifo flag, setting a positive tone for the match.
I don't think fans will ever quite know what that stuff will mean in terms of like, I've got family in the stadium, of course, watching. I've got a little son, so they're memories that will stay with me forever. So yeah, I don't think they quite know what it meant to me, but I heard about it yesterday, but I don't think until I seen it today, I knew how I would feel. Someone was crying on the pitch. There's a bit of adrenaline rush, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
This encounter marked only the 4th Premier League game since the start of last season, in which Newcastle played without a recognised centre-forward, a situation that has historically led to disappointing results, drawing 3 and losing 1. While Gordon may not serve as a traditional focal point up front, his relentless pressing significantly contributes to the team's dynamics. Although Newcastle's intensity wasn't quite at its peak, they displayed more energy than in their previous 5 league games. Gordon was particularly effective, harrying Manchester City's centre-backs and goalkeeper Edison, successfully nicking the ball high up the pitch and disrupting their build-up play. Tasked with leading the line in the absence of Alexander Isak, Gordon showcased impressive energy and tenacity, keeping the City defenders on their toes. His good run earned Newcastle a penalty, which he converted confidently to equalise, marking a return to his best form.
And you responded with a goal from the spot as well. How did you keep your nerve when it was such a big moment in the game?
Yeah, I just try and do what I do. I've got a process for penalties where I sort of check a few things off, try and breathe, zone out, and yeah, take the pen on my terms rather than the referee's whistle or the keeper's. I just do it when I feel ready.
In the game itself, Gordon had a 7.6 match rating, 1 goal, 88% passing accuracy, 2 chances created, 1 penalty won, and a 100% shooting accuracy, meaning that Anthony Gordon has won 7 penalties in the Premier League since the beginning of last season, at least 4 more than any other player during that time. Though Gordon may not be a natural striker, his versatility and potency make him an invaluable asset to Newcastle, highlighting his integral role within the squad.
The goal and his penalty, how impressed was you with Anthony Gordon?
Yeah, I thought Gordy did really well today because it's a different position for him. He's got to play it in his way, and I think you can see there were some challenges for him, but there was also some brilliant moments. So his pressing, for example, gave us an ability to get to Edison, an ability to try and destabilise their control. That's all down to his athletic ability, but also his attitude. And on the ball, you can see really highlighted by his penalty, you know, how quick he is, how dynamic he can be, and I was really pleased with him today.
In a moment of connection with the fans, Gordon kissed the badge during his celebration, reinforcing his commitment to the club. Interestingly, reports suggest that he has agreed to a new long-term 6-year deal. Reflecting on his new contract, he stated, "I don't need any persuading to stay here. I've been excited to sign the contract for a long time. It shows my commitment to the club, which has never been in question." Given that Newcastle was unsettled and fearful that any team could trigger Bruno Guimarães' release clause over the summer, the issue of release clauses became a significant concern. Whether Anthony Gordon's new 6-year Newcastle contract will contain a release clause. Crucially, Ben Jacobs reports that there will be no release clause in the new deal. This detail should reassure Newcastle fans that Newcastle will have control in selling Gordon in the future. Then the second thing we learned was the scary midfield. Bruno Guimarães delivered an impressive performance, showcasing his tenacity and skill on the field. He was dynamic throughout the match, tearing around the pitch to win tackles while managing to stay just on the right side of the disciplinary line. Against a formidable Manchester City midfield, Guimarães imposed himself effectively, demonstrating both defensive prowess and offensive creativity. He had several strong moments on the ball, including a key play where he set up Anthony Gordon for a scoring opportunity. This performance marked a positive response following a difficult outing in their previous match against Fulham. With a match rating of 7.3, he had 66 touches, 81% passing accuracy, 1 key pass, 1 out of 1 accurate crosses, 5 out of 7 accurate long balls, 4 out of 4 successful dribbles, 9 out of 18 ground duels won. This meant that Bruno Guimarães was the player with the most duels won, most successful dribbles, first in fouls suffered, interceptions, aerial duels won percentage, second in through passes, third in sliding tackles, blocked shots, fourth in defensive actions, sixth in long passes, deep completions, and offensive fuels won. Bruno Guimarães against Manchester City highlighted his importance to the team, contributing significantly to Newcastle's overall performance and helping to re-establish his presence as a vital player in the squad. As Anthony Gordon said after the game, "My skipper." Then, despite receiving a match rating of 6.8, Sandro Tonali was massive. His ability to add pace over short distances significantly enhanced the team's pressing game and their effectiveness in winning second balls. What truly stood out in Tonali's performance was his relentless hunger to win. His aggression is exactly what Newcastle needed. With the ball, he demonstrated an extra level of composure. Joelinton, with a match rating of 7.0, also made notable contributions to the midfield. He had a powerful strike save just before halftime. His overall performance was a marked improvement, although he was caught out in dangerous areas late in the game, being dispossessed 5 times. Fortunately, he managed to recover effectively. Additionally, on another day, he might have won a penalty for his efforts. He was actually the top Newcastle player with the highest increased chance of scoring as a receiver. He was a beast, winning the most number of tackles, 3 out of 4, having 1 block, 4 clearances, 4 headed clearances, and 6 recoveries. Then the third thing we learned was the creative fullbacks. In examining the passing networks, it was evident that Kieran Trippier and Lewis Hall played crucial roles in supporting Bruno Guimarães in creating opportunities for Newcastle. Against Man City, Kieran Trippier had a 7.0 match rating, 54 passes, 46 successful passes, 0.26 expected threat, 5.59 progression via pass, 1.52 progression via carry, and 1 ball win. Lewis Hall delivered an excellent performance, showcasing significant improvement in his game. While one-on-one defending has been identified as a potential weakness, he was nearly flawless in this match, being dribbled past only once. Hall made a crucial block to deny Erling Haaland in the second half, further underscoring his effectiveness. He produced one of his best displays in a Newcastle shirt, skillfully blocking crosses and effectively marking Bernardo Silva out of the game. With a match rating of 7.2, Hall put in several dangerous corners and consistently looked to push forward. Being the player with the most recoveries, 10, he also had 4 interceptions, 2 out of 3 duels won, 56 touches, 7 accurate final third passes, and 0 fouls committed. His composure and quality on the ball were apparent, contributing to a top-notch display. We also learned about the Erling Haaland answer. Heading into the match, Erling Haaland had been a dominant force for Manchester City, scoring 76% of the team's league goals this season, and frequently making headlines with his hat-tricks and other notable performances. However, Dan Burn rose to the occasion, delivering an exceptional defensive display that significantly limited Haaland's impact. Despite being out-muscled by the Norwegian on one occasion, which could have contributed to the opening goal, Burn engaged in a fierce battle throughout the match. He effectively went into the trenches, managing to nullify Haaland's threat for the majority of the game. Burn's performance was nothing short of incredible. He had Haaland in his pocket for the duration of the match, showcasing his ability to defend against one of the league's most prolific strikers. Aerially, Burn was dominant, winning crucial duels and ensuring that Haaland was kept at bay. Having 5 clearances, 4 headed clearances, 1 interception, 1 recovery, 1 ground duel won, and a massive 4 out of 5 aerial duels won. This outstanding display solidified his reputation as a key defensive asset for Newcastle, proving that he can compete with the best in the league. Then we also learned about Eddie Howe's tactical genius. The goal scored by Manchester City from the wing highlighted Newcastle's effective game plan. The Magpies executed a solid defensive strategy, successfully controlling the central areas of the pitch and forcing City to pass sideways, which significantly reduced their attacking threat. Dan Burn played a crucial role in this approach, dominating Erling Haaland in aerial duels, ensuring that any attempts to cross into the box faced a well-organized Newcastle defense. Newcastle's game plan was commendable, and credit must be given to the players for their concentration and discipline throughout the match. Despite Manchester City's dominance in possession, with Newcastle also having only 32.2% to City's 67.8% in the field tilt, the Magpies remained resolute under pressure in their final third. Remarkably, Newcastle managed to contain City to an expected goals (XG) value of just 0.87, demonstrating the effectiveness of their defensive efforts. This tactical discipline allowed Newcastle to minimize scoring opportunities for one of the league's most potent offenses, showcasing their ability to compete at a high level, even when outmatched in possession.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing for us. We wanted to be ourselves, and I think you could see very early in the game we committed. It's very difficult to press them, but we tried, and I thought we had some really good success in both halves doing that. I think we played our way, which is the most important thing, and the players committed to it, and individually we were much better today. That was a much better performance, but it needs to be against this team.
Yeah, you're really brave on the press, and we noticed in comms, like, even Gundogan early on when he was going at left-back position, Tonali was he was going, you know, it left a little bit of gaps, and, you know, that's the sort of the trade-off you make, but it allowed you to get up, and the front three, Gordon, Murphy and Barnes were right on it. So the first 35 minutes I thought was as good as I've seen anyone against Manchester City in a long time. I
think, yeah, you're 100% right. There's a trade-off. If you're going to play that way, there's always going to be spaces sort of behind that press. But I think here it's the only way to play. Yeah. Because we need the crowd, we need the energy, we need to disrupt good teams, and also we need to show our qualities with the ball. And I thought we had that as well today. So it wasn't just, you know, one-sided. I thought we gave them a problem in the wide areas in the first half, got into a lot of good crossing positions, probably didn't create enough from those crosses, but we were getting up the pitch, which is not always easy to do against Manchester City.
Then in other news, Eddie Howe confirmed Alexander Isak will miss the Wimbledon game, and is also a major doubt for Everton too. Then, out on loan, Newcastle defender Miodrag Pivas made his debut for Eredivisie side Willem II, coming on as a substitute for the final 7 minutes of his team's 2-0 defeat at home against PSV Eindhoven. Meanwhile, former Newcastle midfielder Moussa Sissoko was absolutely giving it to the Sunderland fans after his Watford side beat them 2-1 at Vicarage Road. Then, on a sad note, Newcastle have announced that CEO Darren Eales will step down from his role after being diagnosed with a chronic form of blood cancer. Newcastle made the shock announcement on Friday, with the club paying tribute to Eales and his work since being appointed 10 months after the takeover by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF. Eales oversaw Newcastle's rise in recent seasons, with the club reaching their first domestic final in 24 years, and also qualifying for the Champions League in the 2022-23 season. The Chelmsford-born director spent time at Tottenham and MLS side Atlanta United before joining the Magpies, and had been expected to take on a greater role after Amanda Staveley and Mehrdad Goudussi left the club during the summer. Eales said, "Being CEO of Newcastle United is an extraordinary privilege, and I am incredibly proud to be part of the club's exciting journey. However, it has become apparent to me that now is the right time to make this decision so that I can prioritize my health and my family. In the short term, it will be business as usual in terms of running the club's day-to-day operations, and I will give my full support to a transitionary period that will enable the board to carefully assess and appoint my successor. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the club's supporters, ownership, players and staff. I'm proud of what we have collectively achieved, and I'm excited to see what's ahead for everyone as the club builds towards a future of sustained success." Newcastle have not given any further information about Eales' condition or the status of his blood cancer. However, the CEO is set to continue his role in the short term as the search for a successor begins. While Newcastle will undoubtedly only be thinking of Eales' health, the sudden news will not do any favors for manager Eddie Howe, who has already been dealing with the shake-up from the appointment of Paul Mitchell as the club's sporting director this summer. And if you would like to know the recent development between Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell that could change Newcastle's future, click the video link on screen now.